So Cracker Barrel is facing a major storm as the Cracker Barrel CEO has been exposed as the controversy heats up during the massive backlash from customers. Okay, so right now, Cracker Barrel just ended a 56-year partnership with the family that created the head games that everyone associates with, their restaurants. Now, if you remember, they changed up the peg game and stuff with a different language, and that also upset a lot of people. Well, here's a big shocker. Cracker Barrel used that family's work to go ahead and build its image for decades and featuring them in the marketing and celebrating history together. But now Cracker Barrel has moved. It was reported by this woman who's from the family of the co-owner of the peg game and stuff. She's granddaughter, where she stated that they probably moved productions overseas, leaving the original company shut down and its equipment sold off. Okay, now customers are starting to see exactly how Cracker Barrel handled this, and it's actually raising some serious questions about where the brand is headed. So now more people will see how the Cracker Barrel CEO is being exposed for another bad decision while the company faces a massive backlash. I'm going to play a couple of videos for you all, but basically this mess started with Cracker Barrel's disappointed attempt at a woke makeover that actually backfired badly. You see, after that backlash, they quietly started walking back parts of the rebrand, like changing the name and stuff, but they never fixed the real damage. You see, the granddaughter of the man who founded the peg game or co-founded it, the peg game company, came out and revealed how Cracker Barrel cut them out entirely after 56 years of partnership. And that's not just a bad business decision, that's just betrayal. You see, her family poured everything into making those games, and Cracker Barrel used that history as marketing for years before deciding that cheaper production overseas actually mattered more. Okay, so here's the video that's in question right now. It's from TikTok.
Cracker Barrel's changing their logo back. But before y'all go and run to have your biscuits and cornbread, let me tell you something. 56 years ago, Danny Evans, the founder of Cracker Barrel, and my grandfather, Ollie Qualls, got together and decided it would be a cool idea to put a game on Cracker Barrel's table. The first day Cracker Barrel opened its doors, our games were on their tables. After several years, my dad, Adrian Qualls, took over Qualls & Son Novelties. And my daddy put his blood, sweat, and tears into that company to make it what it was. In 2019, me, Andrea Kraft, and my husband Alex took over Qualls & Son. That also just happened to be Cracker Barrel's 50th anniversary and also our 50th anniversary. They actually brought a whole camera crew into our workshop to showcase us on their social media as a longtime vendor. 50 years of memories with them since day one. We didn't get anything for this, mind you. This was just bragging rights for them. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and let that run. We've been in business with Cracker Barrel for 50 years. I used to come in as a little girl and kind of watch my dad and my grandfather. I feel proud to be part of such a cool family heritage. It is iconic. Whenever people think of Cracker Barrel, they think of the peg game. As you can see, it was straight from their Instagram, their words. Then COVID hit in 2020 and everything changed for everyone. Cracker Barrel would pay us on a net 60, and that just was not working for us anymore. We communicated that to them, and they agreed that they would pay us on delivery. I can probably count about a handful of times that actually happened. We would have to chase our money down for weeks at a time. It was so incredibly stressful. We were having a hard time paying for our people. We were having a hard time paying for our supplies. It was a mess. We could never get anybody on the phone to help us. And the only time we ever heard from anybody was when the peg game buyer would send us a nasty email asking where his games were when they could not even pay us for the games that we had already delivered. This past February, Cracker Barrel called a touch base meeting so we could all get back on the same page. Touch base, their words. We were still ordering supplies. Like, lumber is expensive, y'all. My husband walked into that meeting and they looked at him and said, I'm just going to cut to the chase. We were told that the wording was too offensive. They told us they were taking our game to someone else to have it manufactured for the gift shop side of the business. Now, please keep in mind, that is 80% of our business. They said that they would let us supply the games that were provided for the tables if and only if we changed the wording to what they wanted, and then wouldn't even tell us what it would be. 20% of our business, just the restaurant side of the games, was not enough to keep our doors open, and we had to immediately close them. When Danny and my Polly had originally made this arrangement, they did everything on a handshake, and we had absolutely no legal grounds to stand on. Unless someone out there hears this and thinks we might. A few months ago, me, my husband, and my dad had to watch all of the hard work, all of the equipment, everything get sold off at auction. So even if Cracker Barrel were to come back and ask us to make the game, we couldn't. There's nothing there. I truly believe that Cracker Barrel ran us out of business on purpose as an excuse to go to China. I truly believe that the people up at Cracker Barrel right now took advantage of the trust that was built between Danny Evans and my grandfather. I really freaking do. So if you're thinking about going back up there and eating the food that's absolute crap now at this point, remember that. Remember that. And maybe you can tell them how to spell embarrassed. My God.
All right, sorry about all the pauses right there, but yeah, that's really messed up. I'm going to get more to I'm going to discuss that later, but here's another video with an update.
We heard from somebody today. Arrangements are being made tomorrow, and I can't really say much more on that just yet, but I can say that this is getting in front of the right eyes. We're in this together now, y'all. We're in this together, and you're going to be coming with me through all of this, and I am so happy to have you on for the ride.
So yeah, this is an update after the word got out, and it seems to me like from what was being discussed in the video, she like the word actually got out and stuff where that now is put out there, where it's put out there that the what's happening with that particular vendor. Okay, so basically, this wasn't some random vendor that they dropped. This was a company that was simply built side by side with Cracker Barrel from the beginning. Now, they both started in Lebanon, Tennessee. The Peg Games became part of the Cracker Barrel experience and stuff, something that actually tied directly to the restaurant's identity itself. But as the Granddaughter announced, after COVID, when the supply costs rose, the family asked for better payment terms to go ahead and stay afloat. But instead of working with them, well, Cracker Barrel decided that they should shift to chasing cheaper options overseas, leaving the family business to collapse under the weight of bad corporate priorities. Okay, so that's really messed up right there. Now, the granddaughter, Andrea Kraft, says that it plain and simple. Cracker Barrel bent them over financially and forced them into shutting their doors. Now, first they demanded changes to the game's wording, calling it offensive without explaining what should replace it. And then they offered them a small slice of business, which is less than 20%, just to go ahead and keep producing games, table games and stuff, while shifting all the gift shop production to a cheaper manufacturer in China. Now, the company couldn't survive on scraps. Now, Cracker Barrel knew it, and they still pushed forward, putting the family out of business after half a century of loyalty. Now, what actually makes this worse is the hypocrisy. Cracker Barrel still brags online about how authentic and down home their brand is, using old images of the Peg Games and talking about tradition, all while quietly outsourcing production to outcut costs. They want the nostalgia pay without paying for it. And the irony of is painful. A company built on Americana and made in the USA optics threw away its most iconic symbol for cheap imports. If Cracker Barrel cared about saving their image, they'd have doubled down on highlighting American made products instead of simply just hollowing out the brand itself. And then there's also the issue about the leadership that's making these particular decisions. The current CEO, Julia Massino, came from Taco Bell, and a lot of this chaos traces back to her. Now, under her watch, Cracker Barrel paid 3 separate ad agencies. 3, burning through $700 million on branding nonsense no one asked for. At the same time, they refused to pay the peg game makers fairly, driving them out of business. You see, they chose logos over loyalty, China over community, and corporate spin over the very people who helped make them a household name. Okay? And that's saying a lot right there. Now, people are noticing too. Customers who used to feel connected to Cracker Barrel's family-friendly image are seeing right through it as well. You see, they brought Uncle Herschel back to the menu and tried softening their Reed brand, but it's all surface level damage control. Meanwhile, they alienated longtime fans, ignored calls to prioritize American made products, and buried one of their oldest business partners. It's not just bad PR, it's the corporate arrogance right there. Plain and simple. All right. Now, the granddaughter's video drives the point home. Her family's company survived multiple generations, growing alongside Cracker Barrel, celebrating milestones together, mind you, and also even being featured in Cracker Barrel's own marketing campaigns. In 2019, as you all saw during Cracker Barrel's 50th anniversary, they showcased her family as part of the brand's history. And just a few years later, that same family was forced to auction off all their equipment and simply shut down completely, all because Cracker Barrel chose cost cutting over keeping their word. And here's where Cracker Barrel simply lost people, with the peg games themselves aren't even the same anymore. You see, they changed the wording to make it nicer and less offensive, stripping out the old humor people remembered. You see, they turned something quirky and fun into a sanitized product that no longer represents the original creator's vision. And then they sent production overseas, allegedly to China, to save a few dollars while pretending nothing changed. It's the kind of hollow focus group nonsense that kills this brand identity. And this isn't just a bad decision, it's a pattern. You see, Cracker Barrel talks about being down home and for the everyday American person, but their actions say the opposite. You see, they ditched local suppliers, cut corners on quality, and ignored their core customer base. Now, just to taste corporate trends. Now, if they were serious about fixing their image, they'd actually fire the leadership responsible, reinvest in a made in America products, and actually rebuild trust by repairing relationships with the people that they burned, starting with this family. And there's also the bigger issue here, of course, of relying too heavily on a single corporate client. You see, the peg game company was tied almost entirely to Cracker Barrel's business, which actually left them very vulnerable when Cracker Barrel shifted priorities. Now, that's a hard lesson for small businesses everywhere, but in this case, I mean, it doesn't excuse that Cracker Barrel's behavior right now. And after 56 years of partnership, they had every opportunity to handle this differently and chose not to. And that's what makes it sting for customers watching from the outside, okay? So Yeah, Cracker Barrel simply had a chance to turn this into a positive. They could have leaned into tradition, made in America a centerpiece in their marketing, and used the peg games as proof of their commitment to supporting local businesses. But instead, they simply buried the story, gutted the legacy partner, and sent production to China. I mean, it's the kind of decision that looks good on a spreadsheet, but actually destroys goodwill with your customer base, and they're already seeing the fallout right now as more people start to walk away. Now, customers aren't really buying Cracker Barrel's spin anymore. You see, this hilarious backlash isn't just about the games, it's about everything that the brand used to stand for. Now, people liked Cracker Barrel simply because it felt authentic, rooted in a kind of Americana that's disappearing everywhere else. Now, by outsourcing production and chasing trendy rebrands and stuff, they simply stripped away the very thing that actually made them unique in the first place. And once you lose that identity, it's hard to win people back, no matter how many Uncle Herschels you throw on the menu. Okay, so yeah, basically, this whole drama shows exactly how disconnected Cracker Barrel's leadership is from their audience. You see, they're actually spending hundreds of millions on branding, cutting deals with foreign manufacturers, and simply put, alienating the customers who actually cared about tradition and quality. That's not a growth strategy at all. And I'm not a business major. It's a slow motion collapse built on ignoring the people who made the brand successful in the first place. And unless they reverse course, well, it's only going to get worse. But simply put, if Cracker Barrel actually wants to recover, the path is obvious. Fire the leadership that caused this mess, restore quality, and recommit to supporting American-made products. Bring back what made people love the brand in the first place, which is the food, the authenticity, and also the partnerships that actually felt real instead of corporate. Okay. And for the start, they should make things right with the family they ran out of business. Without that, every move they make will feel like another empty PR, and customers aren't falling for it anymore. Okay. So, because at the end of the day, I mean, well, Cracker Barrel represents a choice. Stand with the values they claim to represent, or keep hollowing out their identity until there's nothing left to believe in. But right now, they've chosen corporate spin over community, over logos over loyalty, and China over America. That decision right there might look good to their shareholders today, but the damage to their reputation is already catching up. Now, if they don't fix this, Cracker Barrel and their brand will never recover, and the customers will keep walking away, or in this case, staying away. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Also, be sure to smash the like button and share the video far wide across social media. Be sure to join the Discord server in the description below. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on the bell for future uploads notifications, and I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, peace.